So now that we know Deebo is going to play, we know who's in the game, we think the weather is going to be stable. Like, what market do you think we'll be looking at come like Sunday morning when we're back for countdown to kickoff?
Yeah, just to give people an update of even where we went to right when that was announced, I would say you saw a small amount of interest in the Niners and a small amount of interest in the over, which is also what you saw when he was kind of rumored to be playing. What I mean by that is when he got a limited practice in earlier this week and was on track to play, you saw the same thing happen. So we are much more 7.5 than we are 7. If you're just kind of looking at the market right now, we're still in between the two numbers. Neither is minus 110, but I would say the more reasonably priced numbers are the 7.5s. And there actually is a 7.5, 110 right now at a place in Vegas. So that's kind of what happened, like a little bit more movement on the Niners. I mean, I think what this means, because look, like what other domino is left to fall? There isn't one. And there shouldn't be really unexpected injury news coming into this game. And if that's the case, then this is, I think, the hand that we're going to be dealt that we have to play in terms of betting this game. So I think this is what it is. The total got bet up a little bit. More of the 51.5s became 52s is all that happened. There are still 51.5s on the board. These are almost like borderline cosmetic changes. Like they probably don't really affect that you love something in the game or not. But like kind of interesting. And I'll just speak for myself. I was interested in like what I would call like a bottom of the barrel price on the Niners. Deebo misses. Purdy played bad last week. Look at the splits with him off the field. Goes off 6 or goes off 6.5. And okay, yeah, like I might bet San Francisco at a sub touchdown number. I think they still have a lot of advantages in the game. That is not what this market has turned into at all because Deebo is playing. And so like whatever liking of San Francisco I had Monday, thinking I was going to be able to get a good price and like a buy low, this is not even close to a buy low. This is bullishness. This is expectation they're going to run it up here in this game. So definitely the market not reacting basically at all to what Purdy did last week. That has not shown through. They are 7.5 point favorite. They have a really high team total. His number in the market for passing yards is really high. So there is no contrarianism here. Like you can bet the Niners, and you can bet Purdy over, you can bet all that stuff, but it's like you're betting into a price that's like they're expected to be awesome. That's the expectation. So I think for me, it like kills what I thought might be an okay angle in the game and kind of puts me in like not no man's land, but just like very skittish to get involved with this game. Would be much happier to bet the Chiefs in the other game.
What are your prop thoughts coming up for the San Francisco 49ers? Lots of mouths to feed. How do you anticipate it going on Sunday at Candlestick?
Yeah, guys, a lot of juicy wagers are available out there at BetMGM. One of the finest ones that I have, seen so far is George Kittle anytime touchdown at plus 115. The Lions, everybody's made note of this. They're just so dreadful in terms of pass defense since week 12, number 28 in pass EPAD. But during the regular season, they really struggled trying to contain plus-size targets. I gave up 5 receptions, 56.2 yards per game, and a half dozen touchdowns at a tight end position. Kittle, who was outstanding in the regular season in terms of being a field stretcher and a yak machine. He was number 3 among all tight ends in total yak, number 1, numero uno, in yards per route run, and number 2 as well in yards per reception. I think it's going to be similar to what he showed against the Packers, in which he had 4 for 81 and a score. So anytime touchdown for him, again, with Deebo on the field, it really doesn't matter. I think he is going to have his way between the hash marks for this 49ers club. The other action I like Brock. Ain't he so purty on the over 2.5 passing touchdowns? I grabbed that at plus 155. Yeah, getting seduced by the juice there. Available at BetMGM. Baker Mayfield threw for 3 TD strikes last week. He is one of 5 quarterbacks that have achieved that feat this season against Detroit. Again, a lot of shortcomings in that secondary. Then you look at Purdy. He was number 9 in the regular season in total red zone attempts, number 2 in red zone completion percentage. And again, with Deebo Samuel on the field, given his yak upside overall, and I already mentioned Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey heavily involved in that pass game. He could really light up the scoreboard. So that is a wonderful value, plus 155 and the over 2.5 passing touchdowns. And one last one I do like in this one, guys. I grabbed this number plus 170 at BetMGM before the Deebo news came out, so I'm going to see what it resurfaces at. But I think Brandon Ayuk is going to lead this game regardless of the uniform color, in receiving yards. I got that number of plus 170. We'll see what the new number is. But a guy that should absolutely be a busy man, seeing a lot of Kendall Vildor in coverage, who has allowed a staggering 140.5 passer rating to his assignments this year.
In the NFC Championship game, and this doesn't have to be one guy plays well and the other plays poorly, but just like which quarterback do you have more confidence in heading into this game? And maybe the answer is both, and you think both are going to play really well. But who do you give the edge to quarterback-wise in this game? The guy that's been there and done that and won an NFC in Jared Goff, or the young up-and-comer following like a bad game last week, but good weather coming up on Sunday in Brock Purdy?
Well, I think you got to give the edge to Jared Goff in terms of just the experience and the confidence level that he's playing with right now. He's really got his chest puffed out for good reason. He has played well. The people of Detroit have really fallen in love with him, and I think he's really benefited from that, that energy and that confidence, and especially Dan Campbell as well. The confidence that Dan Campbell has had in him, never hesitating if there's a decision to be made. He puts the ball in Jared Goff's hands and lets him just find a way to make it happen. He's going to ride with him no matter what. And so I think Jared Goff would have the edge, and especially given the Deebo Samuel situation. And I don't know, I don't have any inside information as to how significant that injury is, but a lot of people have been thinking that it was very iffy that he was going to be able to play this week. From my perspective, I said, well, Kyle Shanahan, I know him well, and I know his dad very well. Mike and I are very close friends. Even if Deebo Samuel is not able to be a major factor in this ball game, you got to put him on the field. You've got to make Detroit prepare for him. You've got to make him think that he's going to be a big part of that game plan, because that requires an awful lot of attention from the defensive philosophy preparing for this game. Just the fact that he's on the field. So he may not be a major factor in the game, but Brock Purdy needs him on the field and needs to get a ball or two to him early in the game, just to let Detroit know that he is going to be a factor, because that will open up things for Brock Purdy a little bit more. If Detroit is not worried about Deebo Samuel, we've seen how Brock Purdy has struggled. I think if you were to do a little research and really get into the weeds on this, I think a lot of it has to do with when Deebo Samuel is able to play, if he's not bumped up and hurt. Brock Purdy seems to struggle a little bit. So, it's that way with everybody. If you don't have all of your weapons, it's going to be much more of a challenge. But for a young quarterback like Brock Purdy, he's got to have all of his weapons out there and in order to make Detroit play that defensive scheme honestly. But I give the edge as far as going into the game for sure to Jared Goff, because he has been there before.
So, Colin, let's start with the men's Royal Rumble, obviously. We can go do the women's Royal Rumble in a second, which has less intrigue, which just kind of is what it is. The men's Royal Rumble this year is awesome. CM Punk, who had a decade-long absence from WWE, is now back. CM Punk is the favorite right now, about plus 125. Gunther, who people don't know probably, but is absolutely awesome, the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion, surpassing the honky-tonk man, the great Wayne Farris. Gunther, plus 180. Cody Rhodes, son of the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, plus 250. And there's another name, Colin, that I would like for you to discuss that people might have heard of. His real name is Dwayne Johnson. He's the biggest movie star in the world. His name's The Rock, who's up there as well. Colin, how do you handicap the men's Royal Rumble?
Oh, this Rock guy. It seems like he infiltrates our leaderboards every year in this Royal Rumble, and we have to figure out how to handicap this stuff. As we get started on this, I will say my full write-up on the Royal Rumble is out there at Action Network, and essentially every person that has a meaningful name in the leaderboard, I wrote about their exact situation, how I expect them to come in, and who I expect to eliminate them. Now, not to be a square here, CM Punk is the person that I picked to win this thing. You don't sign a contract, come out, do this whole charade of Raw, NXT, SmackDown, get in Seth Rollins' face, unless you signed a contract that says, I want to do the thing that I never did before. I want to main event WrestleMania. That was CM Punk's big deal. I know a lot of OGs will know this, but some people don't. 10 years ago, he left very upset because why? Because John Cena and The Rock were headlining WrestleMania, not CM Punk, a guy that was wrestling every week, defending a championship, putting his blood out there, his sweat out there, throws the pipe bomb out there. He still cannot get a WrestleMania main event shot. He's never won the Royal Rumble. Think about that, too. Like, if you're looking for bullet points on all these wrestlers, I don't think the WWE wants anyone to win it 3 times. Like Stone Cold winning it 2 times is very prestigious. CM Punk's never even won it once. So that is a huge feather in his cap. You know that in his contract when he signed and came back, he says, I'm going to main event WrestleMania. Well, that's great because we now have 2 nights. You can have Saturday night. And then they got him up in Seth Rollins' face right away. So for me, CM Punk is the absolute no-brainer pick. You give him this win here, and then it sets him up with Rollins down the road. Rollins can rehab. CM Punk can play it off with the rest of the Raw stars. And then you go down the list and you say, well, what happens after that? Cody Rhodes, I don't understand what the path is here because The Rock and Cody Rhodes are really fighting for the same thing, and that is to fight Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Now, they don't need to win the Royal Rumble. Neither of them do. There's an Elimination Chamber coming up at the end of February. The winner of that will get to face the other champion. I suspect that if The Rock isn't already sewed up with Roman Reigns, that Cody's going to win the Elimination Chamber and put himself in there. But I really come back to this, Nick. This is what really gets me with this whole thing. Roman will pass Hulk Hogan for longest champion, except for Bruno, right? He will pass Hulk Hogan's record in September. Crown Jewel is in November, the one that's in Saudi Arabia. And so there's other reports out there that say The Rock is probably being situated to face Roman at Crown Jewel after that record is broken of Hulk Hogan, and that would draw the most money. I'm not sure it'll draw the most eyeballs because it's not WrestleMania, but Crown Jewel is really the place where I see The Rock coming in there. So I wouldn't put a penny on The Rock here in this Royal Rumble. And then when you look at Cody and you say, and I can't wait, Nick, I'll let you answer this. Who do I think is going to throw Cody out? The guy who hasn't been on social media in 3 weeks. That's MJF. He has disappeared from the AEW roster. He has disappeared from all conversations. And if you watch AEW, they say, oh, it was a guy that used to work here.
Stop it, man. Stop it. No, I'll tell you what. If you are right, I will give you like the biggest tip, like hat tip of all time. No way MJF is showing up at the Royal Rumble tomorrow night.